Well, if you're a fan of the WNBA, and well, there's a few people who are, it's not just Caitlin Clark who's become famous. There's another lady who's become famous herself. Her name is Sophie Cunningham. She's that blonde-haired young lady that's, well, some would say kind of a wild child. Well, she's not really. She's a kid who went to school in Columbia, Missouri, and there she played in sports in high school. She's got another sister. Family is very competitive because her family has also went to Missouri. They were all athletes in the family, so naturally she became an athlete, and she was pretty good. Well, in high school, she did a whole lot, played in basketball, loved playing basketball, and also she became a great athlete because for her high school football team, when the main kicker got hurt, she stepped in and started kicking field goals, went 2 for 4. She was that kind of lady. Now, she had a chance to play college wherever she wanted to go. She stayed at home, played at the University of Missouri, and ultimately became a Hall of Famer at that school. Was drafted in the second round by the Phoenix Mercury when she graduated, played with them for a number of years, but ultimately back in 2024 and 25, she was traded. She was traded from Phoenix to Indianapolis. And there, well, she became a star on the team as well as Lexi. Lexi, Caitlin, and Sophie all became tres leches, the three amigos, if you will. They were one heck of a team, and people liked to watch the entire thing go. You had these two blondes and Caitlin. They became stars. People knew who they were. People wanted to get their autograph. People watched them on TV. And ultimately, well, Sophie Cunningham decided to go get her own podcast on TV. And she did. And she ended up teaming up with a gentleman that she went to high school with. He was 1 year ahead of her. Well, she went to, as I said, she went to Missouri, Mizzou, where she played basketball. And Wes went to Montana State University up in Bozeman, Montana. Well, ultimately, he graduated, she graduated. He started working in sports a little bit, an intern here, working there. Ended up on a TV show called Summer House on Bravo. Never saw it, but there it was. He was doing his own little thing. And Wes Wilson, well, he was still friends with Sophie Cunningham. She wanted to get a podcast, and they got together and said, hey, let's do a podcast called Show Me Something. And she talks on that podcast very straight. She'll tell you when she's thinking, she'll tell you. Pretty straight little lady about things, but she is interesting in what she wants to do. Well, it turns out that recently Victoria's Secret had a fashion show. Now, let's be honest. Victoria's Secret has been around, well, since the late 80s, early 90s. Remember when they all started out with a little Victoria's Secret catalog? That was that one catalog that would come out and had some big stars in it, two in particular. One was a lady by the name of Jill Goodacre, and the other one was Stephanie Seymour, I believe it was. They were the two big stars in the book that came out, the catalog from Victoria's Secret, and it was a smash hit. Now, ultimately, Victoria's Secret went from being a magazine to being stores all around the United States. You all know what they are. But Jill Goodacre, well, she ended up marrying Harry Connick Jr. They've been married for like 32 years, got 3 daughters, doing quite well. But Jill Goodacre is still the classic for Victoria's Secret. And anybody who remembers, she was on the first year of Seinfeld. I think it was episode number 7. It was a story that happened in a New York City blackout. And she was stuck inside the vestibule with one of the characters. And the character was none other than Matthew Perry, played Chandler Bing on the show. And he was stuck inside this vestibule of this ATM machine. That's how they used to be back in the old days. They were like a big building and had a glass enclosed. You had to get out of your car, walk into it, and put your card in and everything else. Well, she was in that first episode. It was considered a classic. Well, as it turns out, Sophie Cunningham watched the Victoria's Secret TV show. And her nemesis, her arch nemesis of basketball, was on the show. And she was one of the Victoria's Secret's angels. That was April Reese. Well, according to Sophie, April killed it. And so you know what Sophie did? She called her agent and said, I've been wanting to be an angel on that show for since I was in second grade. I wonder if I could get there. Well, now it appears that maybe, just maybe, the people at Victoria's Secret might be smart and say, you know what? We're going to take Sophie Cunningham, turn her into an angel because she's fit to do it. She's lovely. You've seen the clothes she wears, the styles that she wears. She's pretty wild. But could she be a great Victoria's Secret angel? I think she's about 6'1". So she's slender. She's got long legs. That's what the kind of models they want for Victoria's Secret. So she could appear. Be interesting to see what happens. But now, Sophie Cunningham has her own YouTube shows. It's called Show Me Something. And Wes Wilson and her buddies from high school, they've been around as friends since they were kids. They do the show together. It's kind of interesting to watch. You can see it on YouTube. But now you know, another one of the WNBA women, Sophie Cunningham, just might end up being a Victoria's Secret angel. And I'm sure that if she does, it'll be highly publicized, and it will be probably one of the biggest ratings getters on TV when the show airs. In fact, if she does go through with this. Just saying what happens when you're a star. People want to see you wherever you are and see whatever you do. That's how being a star works out. Because, well, you get following. And when you get a following, it means money. More money for everybody involved. The sponsors and the individual herself.